Rightio, so we'll get started. So thanks for everybody for joining. So my name's Michael, I'm the Partner Customer Success Manager. I think I've spoken to most of you who've booked in to attend on this call in some capacity or other. Or if I haven't, I will be. Today we've got our first Sage 200 Lunch and Learn session with Keith Carver, who's very kindly volunteered / been forced to do a report design session for us. Sage 200 reporting session for us. Keith does do report design as well for Sage 200. And we've also got Pete Donaldson on the call as well. And Pete's our Sage 200 training expert. And Pete will be giving a little update around Sage 200 training at the end of the call. And you'll also be telling us what we've got coming up in August. So without further ado, Keith, I'm going to pass over to you. So if you give us 2 ticks, I'll just pass the reins over and I'll pop myself on mute and I'll keep an eye on that questions board. So if you've got any questions throughout, just give us a nudge. But Keith, you should get the pop up now. I think you're on mute there, Keith.
So I was, beg your pardon. Can you hear us now?
Perfect, mate. Thank you.
Ooh, excellent. So my name's Keith Carver. I've been at Sage 20 years. This is year 20. Started on Sage 50 accounts, then on to report design for 50 accounts, payroll report design, HR report design. Was there for until 2015, and then moved over to Sage 200, where I deal with the customized report designs for our customers and your customers that have Sage 200 via the report design services process. What I'd like to do first of all is just take you through a brief PowerPoint just on what Sage 200 services is, what we expect when customers book their appointment, what we'd like you to do in relation to widening this service out to your customers as well, because we're still getting customers who do book appointments have only just found out about it, and just some of the stats in relation to how many downloads of the designs we've done so far, etc., etc. So first of all, we've got the Sage 200 report library. This article is on the knowledge base. It has a selection of customized designs that are generic for customers and not business specific, and that may help them in processing data, interrogating data within their system that could help them move their business forward. These reports can be downloaded from the article. The customer would need to log in, so they would need to have a Sage ID, and then from that download they can either, if they're on standard, they can upload them into standard, or if they're on professional, then via system administration they'd need to maybe have your expertise to do that as well, to upload it so that they can then get it into the menu, so that they can then run it from within the program itself. On the article, when you select the relevant module, you'll then get a list of the reports within that module, and instead of the user having to download it, put it into the program in order to view it, there is a PDF copy of what the report looks like based on the demonstration data that comes with the 200 program. So the user is then able to make the choice of, actually, no, that's not for me, let's look at the next one, so they can determine which ones are the best for them, that may be useful for them. So Sage 200 services came into effect at the end of 2014, 8 years, it's quite a long time. And the reports library, we're able to look at how many downloads have been created from those free reports that are available for customers. And as you can see, we've got quite a big download range for each of the years. Obviously, some of the reports are a lot more, let's say, friendly and more useful for customers than others. So there's like the 12-month quantity sold, value sold by customer report, invoice report. Those have been downloaded a lot more times than other reports. And if there's any customized requests that we get through that are, maybe we're getting multiple requests of the same type that aren't in the report library, then we will try and create that as an additional report to be listed on the report library article for other users to have the ability to download as well. So Sage 200 Services gives customers exclusive access to people like me who deal with report design. It's not a training function, so we don't train customers on how to use report design. Basically, they book an appointment, we ring them at the time that they've asked for, and we then go through the specifics of what it is they're after. Our service levels are usually 5 working days to get the report created. We then, if the customer's got access to system admin, we'll then upload the report for them, put it into the menu, we'll run it to make sure it runs. If it's been formatted for report to Excel, then we'll send it to Excel as well to make sure there's no formatting issues, and then the customer gets 5 working days to test and check the report and come back to it if there's any further questions, queries, or amends that they didn't think of at the time of the original appointment. It's really imperative when they're booking an appointment that they read through the full article, because obviously we're creating customized reports using out-of-the-box report designer, and due to functionality or the way the program processes its data, there are certain reports that aren't possible, and we do get a lot of customers that unfortunately don't read the full article, so that creates the disappointment when we speak to them on the appointment to basically say, unfortunately, that isn't possible, that's outside of scope, because the program does not have the capability out of the box to do what you're after. Out of the designs that we've done, there's a little graph there, basically, over 3,000 designs which have been completed successfully to our customers, but we also split them out based on the appointments. Was it a free of charge one because it was either in the program or it was one of the report library articles? Was the request cancelled? There's lots of different scenarios where the customers are able to cancel that appointment and rebook it again prior, hopefully 24 hours prior to the original appointment. But we again get a lot of customers who don't do that, so we ring them up and they tell us, actually, oh, I should have cancelled it, which then removes the ability of other customers to book that slot. Your outside scope column there, this is what I was talking about previously, where the reports that they're after aren't possible within the program, because the program doesn't have the functionality or the capability to do what they're after. They'd need bespoke or third-party development to do that. You yourselves as partners, you are able to raise cases relating to report design. There is an article, and it's also in the partner handbook, on what you're able to raise a case on, depending on your level of expertise within report designer. This excuse me, this is usually if you've got a customer that's asked you for, I don't know, maybe a specific expression added to a report. If it's down the route of creating a report fully customized using the standard tables in the program, then your customer gets 3 free of charge designs on a yearly basis relating to their registration date of the program. So divert them to book the appointment via the report design article, instead of having to deal with it yourself. If the report needs to be based on customized tables because of third-party add-on, then that is outside of scope, so you wouldn't need to deal with that yourself. Any questions relating to fields or expressions using customized tables, again, that's outside the boundaries of support for yourself, because we as Sage 200 don't know what those tables do within the program, what effect they have on the standard tables that come with the program as well. If the customer uses all of their 3 free of charges in that year, and it's, let's say, not another 6 months until it resets back to 3 again, then they're still able to get further designs created, but they would be at a charge of £500 plus VAT. And that would be all discussed with the customer at the time that we speak to them on the appointment. And just a quick reflection on the partner handbook, not just for report design, but for any queries you have relating to the 200 program itself. Details of what we'd expect you to do before you raise a case or ring in relation to your troubleshooting, etc., is all detailed within the partner handbook itself. And on top of that, you've also got the partner checklist, which gives you valuable areas to go to check before you raise a case or you speak to us on the phone. There's a mountain of information that's available, whether it be on the knowledge base or within the in-product help files itself. So we just ask for you to make that attempt to do that troubleshooting before you contact us. Otherwise, the guys will be asking you for that information and sending you away because they can't find what and if any resolution would be available to rectify your call without those in-step details and information that the customer is having. So that's all about Sage 200 services. The next bit I'm going to touch on is basically the Excel versus Report Designer sections of the program, some criteria options, and also runtime reports and the difference between those and the reports that you see in the menu on the left-hand side of the program when you run them from there. So if we look at the first port of call, which will be Excel reporting versus Report Designer. So any report within the program on the left-hand side, obviously you can preview. You can also do report to Excel or data to Excel from the top of the preview. If that report goes into the spooler, then you only have the report to Excel option, because data to Excel is a live link directly to the SQL database to grab the data directly from there based on the fields that are on the report. So if we want to look at just a standard report, the transaction list and current, if I was just to preview it without any criteria. So we've got all of the information on screen there, formatted for printing purposes. If I was to do report to Excel from the top of the preview, I'm going to get this type of information. So report to Excel will, as standard, export everything into Excel that you can see on the preview itself. Now, if I was then going to do data to Excel from the top of the preview, then you're going to get data come out in a table format, but it's also going to export anything else on the report that's hidden in the background. So you may have sections that aren't visible on the preview where it has variables attached to it. Now, data to Excel doesn't know what reporting formatting that's attached to the report. So it'll look at everything on each of the sections and export all of that information into Excel. Obviously, because it's in the table format, you could then use pivot functionality to grab the information that appears. But if you want specific information from the preview of the report and not everything else that's on the report, then your last option would be not the last option. The next option would be Excel reporting. So within your menu, you've got Excel reports at the bottom here. Now, these don't use Report Designer. These, again, are pre-coded XML files that basically go to the Sage SQL database and drag the information through into Excel. But again, when it goes into Excel, it's in a nice format function. So when you're in here, what I've done is I've selected supplier transactions, I've updated it, Once it then says completed here, I've then viewed it and I've then saved it, which is this file here. So within here, the Excel file uses the slicing functionality within Excel, where you can just select the specific options that you're interested in within these slice and dice functions. You can then also, there might be fields that have been moved from Sage into Excel that aren't visible. So you've got the ability within pivot tables to remove or add fields that you don't want to see or you do want to see. And then if you're wanting to see what makes up this information, you've then got extra sheets being added to the report as well. The good stuff with Excel reporting is if you've got the pivot table isn't in the right format, if you adjust this pivot table to match how you want it to look, you can then save that file and then upload it back into this list as a new design in this list itself. And the next time you update it and either view it or save it, it will have the saved pivot table functionality that you created originally. So there's the difference between report to Excel, data to Excel, and Excel reporting. The next thing I want to show you is report to Excel in a bit more detail and data to Excel. So we've got this report here, which is profit by customer summary. If I run it for all, then we've got 2 pages worth of information in here. Now, when you do data to Excel, as I was saying earlier, it will find the live SQL variables in the database to drag the information into Excel itself. Some of the reports, standard reports within the program, have expressions attached to them. This one does specifically. So it has the profit percentage on cost and sales. Now, if I was to open up the standard, if I was to export, that report for data to Excel, this is the information that would come out based on that report. Now, as you see, because it's going and looking at every single variable, not just the ones that are visible on the preview, then it's bringing through transactional history, when obviously this report is a one by customer. So you would then have to do a lot of formatting within Excel if you've done data to Excel to match how it looks here. So if we go into edit the report itself, so this is the standard report. So you've got, these are the expressions I was on about, which don't get exported using data to Excel because those aren't live standard variables within the program. What I could do is I could choose report to Excel by customizing this report so it's formatted specifically for that function. So if I open a report that I've already created for report to Excel, now this is a whistle-stop tour. There are articles, or there is an article on how to format reports to Excel. So you have that capability when the user runs the report. So if we look at the standard report, we've got report header, we've got the fields in here. This field's got a percentage sign after it, etc., etc. And when you do data to Excel, it's going to export everything. What we want it to do is we just want it to export this information here. It won't export the lines, and it won't export these because those are text fields as well. So what I've done with this report, and again, if you're doing this function, you'd have to save it as a new copy of the original report and then upload it via System Administrator so you can then put it into the menu. But what I've done is I've added a new page header, which is this section here. I've then moved the column headers from the report header into the page header. I've then removed the percentage fields because report to Excel or data to Excel won't take text fields. Well, it'll cause issues once it goes into Excel as well. And then I've made the fields that relate to each other all the exact same width. What that'll do is it'll stop merging or split cells when you put the information into Excel. If I was to move this set of information and move it over the sales price column, your report to Excel, it'll say, well, wait there, I've got two bits of information that are overlapping each other. I'm going to put both sets of information at the same cell. So if you're ever doing this, make sure you've got gaps in between your columns. Now, if you've got a report that's got a lot of information, let's say 20, 30 columns worth of information, you can still do report to Excel. You just wouldn't be able to set it up for printing purposes because you'd have to decrease the width of each of the columns so you can fit them all on the report. Once it goes into Excel, you can then increase the width of the columns so you'll see all of the information within Excel itself. So this report here, if I, again, sorry, one last thing as well. You'd also need to tell the report which sections it needs to export into Excel. So within your properties of the report designer, which you can access from view properties if it's not already visible. So within properties, you've got Excel options. And within here, I've told the report, I only want the contents of the page header and the customer account ID footer to appear. And I don't want it to repeat these pages. If I untick that, then if there's two pages, it's going to repeat these column headers twice within Excel. So once I've done that as well, if I was then to preview in the same way as I did the standard report, at the top of the preview within the program, you're going to have a report to Excel. Because I'm in Report Designer, I've got Report to Excel at the top left there. If I then do Report to Excel, I then get a report like that. Everything is in its own set of unique columns. We've got no page splits or cell splits. We do have a blank column on the left-hand side. The reasoning behind that is because we have this gap here on the left-hand side as well. If I was to move all of that information right to the edge and then run it to Excel again, I wouldn't have that blank column. But if your report has been set up for both purposes, for printing and for report to Excel, and it works in both manners, if you did that, then your printer margins may remove some of the information. So just be wary of that as well. So that's a quick one on customizing a report for report to Excel functionality. The next bit I just want to touch on is criteria. So when you run a report within the program, and let's say the customer has the same report that they run every month for exactly the same criteria, and that criteria is quite lengthy that they have to input. Don't need to do it. You can save the criteria, and so you can reload it at a different point in time, or reload it and then amend the criteria and save it back into the program again. So if we take the transaction list and current, if I run it for all, I've got over 450. I've got 458 pages because it's for every single supplier that's in this set of data for all transactions. But what if on a monthly basis, I'm specifically wanting to look at my supplier, which is Gasworks? So what I can do is I can create the criteria that I want to use for the report. Another option as well, a lot of customers don't know what this is as well. So you've got some preset dates on any type of report that has date criteria. If you need to add the date in, you don't need to put the slashes in. If you just did that, it puts it in automatically for you. It's a minute bit of time to save, but it all adds up. It all adds up. So you get your pre-populated dates there now. I want to do this next month for exactly the same date range. So instead of putting the criteria in here each time, I can click on save and then save this as a criteria. And then the next time I run the report, I can then click on load and I've got the saved criteria here. I select it, choose OK. There's the saved criteria against this report. If I then click on OK, I've now got 2 pages specific to gas 001 just for the payment transactions for that specific date range, January to December. Or I've got another criteria, which is this one here, which again is for gas, but it's just for the month of May and it's just for payments. I've now just got the 3 transactions dated in May that the criteria has told the report to pick up. Now, those criteria are saved locally on the machine. On this setup that I've got, they're saved into Sage reporting criteria, but that directory may be different depending on your user that's using the system. But you could copy them and paste them from one machine to another, and they're attached specifically to that report. So as long as the report has the same name, then that criteria would be visible when the report's run. And then the last thing I would like to discuss is runtime reports against menu reports. So runtime reports are when you open up a window, such as, let's say, a bank reconciliation or a VAT return, that information gets populated at the time of you opening up that window. And that information has to be calculated from lots of different areas of the program, depending on how the settings are within the program, and the date range, etc. So it's got to get its information from a lot of different tables. So there isn't just a report that can be run because there isn't just one table with that information. So when you go into windows like that, you've got runtime reports. So runtime reports basically are reports that have had runtime tables created specific to that window so that the report can be run on the fly. So for this example, I'm going to go into stock inquiries, and then I'm just going to use the monthly trading figures inquiry, and I'm just going to choose my first item. So this populates the values per month, but I've also got a print button here. So if I click on print, the report is basically set up to just pick up these ad hoc tables that being created in this window, like that. Now, because these are runtime tables, then data to Excel won't work because those tables aren't in the SQL database. They're created as like a data model in between SQL and Report Designer, like a middleman. And if I do report to Excel, nothing happens at all. You can see if I do data to Excel, it'll still create a data to Excel file, but this information is just worthless. So just bear that in mind as well. We have had a couple of customers with appointments that have wanted these type of reports to be amended. And again, because they're runtime reports, any amendments may affect other areas of that report running. So be very, very wary of that process. Pete, I'm all done and dusted.
Excellent.
Excellent. Shall I transfer back to you?
Yes, please. There we go. It's starting to come through there now. Hopefully everyone should be able to see my screen, but they won't let me know if they don't. So first of all, just to thank you to Keith for that. It was excellent. Keith is our resident stationer expert on all things Report Designer. So it's he's as such is a very busy man. So we've been looking to grab him for this hour or so. So thanks, Keith. So I won't keep you too much longer. Oh, I've had a message too. Can everyone see my screen? Keith, can you see my screen? This is the...
Yeah, the word doc.
Oh, wait a minute. That one.
Now I can, yeah.
There we go. Wrong screen. Technical issues, or my issues, more likely. So yeah, all I was going to say was, you may have seen the announcement on the recent Sage 200 newsletter about the revamping of some of our training offering. You know, we're looking to improve it across the range there. So we have two announcements to make today, basically on the back of that. The first one follows on from this call.
You're on mute, Pete. You're on mute. Can't hear you.
We're going to try something. Can everybody hear me now?
All good, mate. Yeah, that's better.
Excellent. God knows what's happening on mine, but I've stolen Keith's headphones, so we have a working pair. So thanks again, Keith. So because I don't know what anybody actually heard there, I'll start again from scratch. So we on a recent Sage 200 newsletter, we announced that we'd be bringing in some training improvements and looking to improve everything we offer from the Sage 200 perspective. So we have two announcements here to bring up today. So the first one follows on from today's Lunch and Learn. So we have the new Sage 200 report design training, which can be found in the mandatory training section on Sage University. You see it here, it says Sage 200 report designer fundamentals. It's a nice e-learn, takes you through looking at things like how to perform joins in Report Designer, etc., and things like that. So once you get to the end of that, you'll be able to create your own report from scratch. So it's very handy if you're looking at that type of thing. The next announcement that we want to make is that we, on the back of the feedback we've had from a lot of partners, is we're going to be moving the Sage 200 commercials course from what was self-serve back to an instructor-led course. And we'll be looking at running that through for the first time in August. Now, what we're looking for is we're looking for 6 to 10 people to come up to Newcastle from the 1st to the 3rd of August and take part in the course and complete the certification. Attendees should be ideally certified in Sage 200 financials, but it's not the end of the world if they're not, as long as they have a working knowledge of how that part of the program works. Then we can build on that and bring it through to the commercial side of things. So if you do have anyone that's interested or anyone that you think would benefit from it, please drop me an email. Email should be on screen there now. And once we have enough numbers, I'll get in touch with everybody individually and go through what's expected and what to expect when you come to take the course. This will be the first run, like I say, so a couple of things to note. This isn't bookable on Sage University right now. So you will only get access to it if you email myself, and then we can get you, we can keep you a space. The second thing is that we would like to have a lot of feedback from whoever attends. You know, we are working hard to improve what we have in play at the moment. So anything we can get from you guys that would help with that would benefit everyone in the long term, not just on the commercials course, but on any other course that we look to improve from this point onwards. So very quick one from me, but I just wanted to kind of get this across and drum up a little bit of interest for this one. So that is all from me for now. So thank you to Keith for your bit today, and thank you for everyone that's attended. But I'll close this off now. But any questions, you have my email address. Please don't be shy. Thank you.
Excellent, Pete. Thanks very much, mate. Thanks for everyone for attending, and you will receive a survey at the end. So if you've got any feedback, just feel free to drop it on there. But we'll end the session now, and thanks again for attending. Speak to you soon.